Do you feel stuck in your life, like you know the way to think, but then you get stuck in the implementation of the stuff that will really move you forward? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about something called learned helplessness, and it may help to shed some light on why you do what you do. Do you love God but still feel anxious or overwhelmed? Have people or experiences shaken your ability to trust? Have you tried to pray harder, push through, or think differently, but still feel stuck? Would you like to finally be able to calm your mind and emotions? I've been there. I struggled for years with anxiety, intrusive thoughts, and feeling like I was failing spiritually when I wasn't actually at fault at all. I was simply experiencing the effects of trauma in my nervous system. Now, as a licensed professional counselor and certified EMDR therapist, I help other Christian women to understand and process what's happening to them so that they can experience the healing that Jesus provides through good therapy. That can be a miracle too. I'm Michelle Croyle, and I'm here to tell you that you're not failing, you're wounded, and wounds can heal. So grab your favorite beverage, a notebook and pen, and take a deep, relaxing breath because you're about to be refreshed. Let's get started. So welcome to Trauma Healing for Christian Women. I'm Michelle Croyle, and I'm glad you're listening in. I want to tell you that we have a free Facebook group. If you're looking for it, you have to look for Trauma Healing for Christian Women free group, not just the page, and then answer a few questions. But once you do, we would love to invite you in if you'd like to get some encouragement and join our community group. All right, let's get on with this. Learned helplessness. What is learned helplessness? Basically, I like to think about it as blocks. So if you've ever seen those like bead kind of plastic block type things, kind of oblong, different colors, and they have like a knob at each end so that you can stick them into beads that have openings and you kind of click them in, you lock them in, and then you have this long rope of connected beads that just, you could hit someone lovingly on the head with it or twirl it or whatever you wanted to do with it. It really just was a string of individual things that got connected together. Do you know what I mean? Well, anyhow, that's how it is with our messages about ourselves. They come about in different ways. And because this is a podcast episode, this is going to be overly simplistic. But to give you an idea of how this might work, think about maybe going to school and being picked on in kindergarten. Okay, if somebody's nasty to you in kindergarten, you might think, oh, that person was nasty to me. There must be something wrong with me, because children are kind of self-focused. They don't really have that concept of being other-focused yet. And so they're egocentric. And so we think that the world revolves around us, even when things are out of our control. So if someone says to a child something nasty, right, about them, and they start thinking, oh, that must mean something bad about me. Well, the next time that somebody's rude, whatever that thing is, if it resembles that first slight, they might just go ahead and, like one of those beads, click it into place and go, oh, something's wrong with me. Click. And then the next time something happens that slightly represents something along those lines where they might feel not as good or judged or criticized or feel embarrassed or ashamed, oh, look, that must go into this strand. Let's click it in there. Click. By the time you get to be an adult, whatever that particular thread is that had the most commonalities of negative beliefs, you may well have a whole bunch of clicky beads that just are making this huge long strand. And if those messages were negative about what you can do about things, or about how much you're loved or how valued you are, or whether you're powerless or powerful or not, right? These negative things, we can get positive things that way too, but these negative beliefs, they can start to give what's called learned helplessness. And it's basically where you say, this is just how life is. You feel like you're looking at life pretty objectively, but logically, you may know differently. You may know, oh, This doesn't make sense. Why is this holding me back? I'm not really afraid of this, but yet I can't speak up for myself, or yet I find myself people pleasing, or yet I feel like I can't actually take that action that's good for me for some reason. And it's almost like this invisible thread of these plastic, colorful beads, but not in a good way. It's like a nasty connection, and it's just permeating everything with this invisible thread of learned helplessness. So the way that we found out about this is there was somebody who did a science experiment who took dogs and put them into a cage and shocked the dogs. This was quite a while ago when it was probably not illegal to do inhumane stuff. Now, for the purposes of a podcast, this is a simplistic version. Look into the research yourself if you would like to learn more in depth about it. But basically, the dogs learned, oh, I'm going to get shocked if I'm on this side of the cage or if I'm on this side. And so what happened is the dogs just gave up moving to try to get away from the shock. There's like, okay, I'm darned if I do, darned if I don't. Stuck. We call that in therapy a double bind. And basically what that means is the dog figured, why try? If this is reality and I'm always stuck, then I give up. And even when the door was left open to the cage, the dog would still just give up and not even try to run away because they were already defeated in their own mind. Do you see where I'm going with this? Sometimes, even though we know logically our mind, our nervous system has already on a subconscious level, in our experience, our felt sense, has already given up and said, doesn't matter what you logically know, it's safer to just accept that we're going to get zapped. And so there's no point in trying. And that is why learned helplessness is such a pain. It is just so hard to get over that because you might not even realize that it's a conditioned response, that it was something trained into you. It was something that happened because you believed things that weren't true about you, and those beads got connected in ways that never represented complete truth. They represented the story you told yourself about what each thing meant. So for instance, the first bead might have been someone told you something like, oh, you're stupid because you couldn't read and the rest of the class could read. Let's just go with that one as an example. So, oh, I'm stupid. Well, the next time that you didn't do well on a test, you maybe attached another bead. Oh, look, I got a bad grade on this test. I'm stupid. Click it into place. Then you get into high school. Oh, I didn't make the tryouts for whatever. I didn't succeed there. Okay, I must be stupid and incapable. Then the next thing is, oh, why even try to get into college? Because, I've never done well at things before. I can't do this. Click it in. Next thing you know, you're doing it to yourself and you're counting yourself out when really what happened, if you go back to the beginning, somebody was just rude. And what was true is that every kid learns at their own pace, right? And so if you can't read, that doesn't mean you're stupid. That might mean that you have a learning difficulty that someone needs to help you with. That might mean that you're not paying attention because you just are enjoying playing. That might mean that you had a poor teacher. That might mean that your books were not quite at the right age level, and so you didn't learn quite as quickly. It could mean a number of different things. It could mean other kids in the class, parents worked with them more, and you didn't have someone to work with you. But if you interpreted it as a problem with you, then you internalized it as part of your value or lack of value. And that's much harder to uncover and unravel and get past, right? If you didn't make it for a team, instead of the message being, well, they could only take the top 3 athletes and I was right up there, but I couldn't travel to away games or whatever. And so I didn't make the cut. Instead of a balanced view like that, you might go, oh, see, I'm not good at that either. Instead of you studied the wrong test sheet or that the teacher didn't go over things adequately, you're like, see, nope, just proves I'm stupid, right? And so you don't have a clear, true perception of reality. You might think you do, but really you're looking at it through the bias of these invisible connections that you've made inside you that other people helped kind of construct for you, and you bought hook, line, and sinker and got conditioned towards feeling helpless and something negative about yourself that you never even agreed to. You never really realized that you were agreeing to something that was a lie. You thought you were agreeing to something that was the truth, and it was safer to just accept it and basically learn the helplessness. Just like the dog in the cage, once the door was open, I'll just stay here. There's nothing in the way. I can get out. Oh, no, right? And then you become your biggest obstacle. That's the thing that I want you to be able to notice is, when do you become the obstacle? Things may have happened to you. Things may have hurt you. You may be struggling because it is hard to get over conditioned responses. But that is different than what happens when you then give up and say, never mind. Healing is impossible for me. I won't go to therapy. I can't get the help I need. Why bother? So those are two different problems. We can help you to confront where the messages that you've gotten are not completely accurate or true about you. And we can help you to do the process as therapists to get the trauma out of your nervous system. What you have to do, though, is to do something that you feel it's safer not to do. So it might be picking up that phone and saying, hey, could you be a therapist who could help me with this? Let's talk about it. And oftentimes it is that change that now shakes our internal bead chain there. And it says, oh, maybe this bead and this bead and this bead don't all add up. Maybe I can put this color with this color, and maybe I can get a different shape of bead. Maybe I can make it in a circle, or maybe I can make it in a square, or maybe I can make it all blue or make it all red. All of a sudden, I have options into how I want to make this chain of these beads. And seeing things in a more balanced way rather than a double bind where we're darned if we do, darned if we don't, simply because of conditioning and things that we accepted as truth that weren't completely true, and things that we made meaning about or were told meaning about that weren't based on truth about us, how that can add up to learned helplessness. So if that's something that you're struggling with, maybe you've had CPTSD, ongoing childhood neglect, abuse, trauma, wounding. Maybe you've had narcissistic abuse or emotional abuse, or you've been bullied, or you've been through really rough times and you got messages about why bother, or I can't do that. That's for everybody else, but not for me. Those are the things I want you to pay attention to. When you can pay attention to the fact that this is a conditioned response and that you may not be seeing everything in a most helpful or clear way, you may start to see that, oh, there is a way out. The door is open for you. You don't have to just stay there and take the shocks that you've taken your whole life. And a good therapist can help you to walk through the door, to get that freedom, to step out of the way that you've been conditioned to look at things and the way that you've been conditioned to act, and to look at things through a more helpful lens that shows you how to get to the open door and to walk through that into freedom. If you would like some help with that, I really encourage you to reach out to a good trauma therapist who can help you with that. And if you'd be interested in working with me, I invite you to schedule a free consult call. I would love to talk with you more about what you've been experiencing in your life and see if an EMDR intensive with me could help you. You can do that by going to the show notes and scheduling with me for a free 15-minute consult call. And even if I'm not the best fit for you, I can refer you to someone who might be able to help or give you some other suggestions, but possibly would be a great fit to work together, and we could help you overcome this learned helplessness. So check it out in the show notes or go to calendly.com/Michelle Croyle, and I'd love to talk with you. All right, well, that's it for today. I hope that all of your strings of beads are joyful and attached wonderfully to healthy thoughts about yourself, healthy beliefs about yourself, and that you put together the healthy experiences based in the truth that God has about you and your identity, and not the damage and the lies. All right, till next time, take care. content that you heard today is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not to replace professional therapy and is not to be considered a professional therapeutic relationship. If you would like to work with me, please reach out through the contact link in the show notes. I'd love to hear your story. And if you liked what you heard today and would like to share it with somebody or leave a rating and review, we greatly appreciate it so others can listen in too.